Whoa, we're three people. Was it something I said? We got 5 more minutes. I like Wells. Wells is like, we got time. They're coming. They're on their way. So Carson and I were talking just a minute ago. Where are you at with the project?
I've looked at it. It's about as far as I am with that.
Nice. What about the user forums? Are you doing that one? Nice. Where are you at on that
Well, started working. I
one?
was working in between classes, so
Nice.
work.
So you're at the beginning of that one. Any advice, Carson or Rainin, for Wells on the user forums?
I talked to Sam about it for a little bit.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he on July 4th we ran into each other. The user forms on.
It's not terrible.
Yeah.
What did Sam say?
It's the instruction. He just told me through everything.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's not terrible.
The instructions actually
There's a little bit of code when you have to put data from the form back into Excel.
and getting from the Excel to the form.
Yeah,
So there's definitely some code
there's some
there.
code there.
I didn't understand exactly how to connect everything up, so I was using AI to teach me how to connect everything up.
Nice.
And I
Yeah,
still don't know exactly, but I know better than I did
yeah,
before.
yeah, yeah. It's probably more verbose than it needs to be in terms
If
of
you,
AI.
the thing is with this costume, like if you threw this at me and said do it from blank, and I'd be like, "All right, good luck. That's real difficult. But I understand that I can, the help of AI can get it to work.
That's good. That's a good sign. And I think that skill is going to transfer too,
Mhm.
because you
I spend as
understand the
much time with this as I have.
right.
It's like I can do it
How many Python classes have you taken?
three, 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Mhm.
How many feature
I can
classes?
do a pretty good amount with HTML and CSS and JavaScript too.
Not bad. Yeah, I kind of feel like those languages, it's just AI is going to take over. AI is going to be like 99%. If you want to customize it, you can customize it.
HTML especially, HTML and CSS are so simple and like it's so easy to get AI to do something. JavaScript, you need JavaScript a little bit less so.
Yeah,
JavaScript
yeah,
has got a little bit more going for it.
yeah, for sure.
Uh, so the Gemini remoted into my PC at home so I can actually work on
What's your latency like? That's not bad.
it. Okay.
What's your remote tool?
Steam Link.
Steam Link. What is
Steam.
that? Steam
Steam.
Link?
Steam
Do you have to have a
is
client and a server piece on that?
oh come on. Hello.
Oh, it's a
Are you
streaming
here?
program manager.
No, so no, that's so Steam is a game is a gaming
Oh, gotcha.
platform,
Yeah.
and they have a remote gaming setup that you can
Oh,
use.
gotcha.
JC,
There he
it's
is.
been a while. JC, I heard you were a DoorDash driver from Brother Eberhard's case study. Oh, it's like no, but this they have a remote gaming. The way you can set up for remote gaming, and I just set it up to stream my desktop.
Okay,
Yeah. I've
that's
also
nice.
used Moonlight, but you have to network.
Okay.
So I use it to remote into my server at home.
So I just use a remote client,
Yeah.
which I
I've
don't
used
know.
Rust Desk. I've used Rust
Oh,
Desk
I've heard
in
of
the
that.
past. But Steam Link is easier and just works.
Integrates better with your game.
It's easier
Yeah.
because I already have it. I don't use it for
Yep.
remote gaming all that much because the latency is a little high, but for something like this,
Okay. That's cool.
fine.
That's great. Good job. Good job. Hey, Brother Christensen. How you doing?
Yeah,
Good to see you again.
it's all right that I'm here again.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know where everybody is today. It's like in both classes.
Yeah,
Very light.
quietly attended
We've got,
the last week or something.
I guess we've got 16 on the rolls here. We got 4 people. JC's here though. Way to show it. Way to pull up. Preaching to the choir here in this group. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, let me see if I'm logged in on this one. Oh, nice. Got it. Where's the
Category
that's what we're talking about. Yes.
marketing management. I'm supply chain, so I don't have to do marketing.
That's why I'm here.
This is the group. This is we were talking about that this morning.
I didn't want to do like accounting, marketing, or sales.
Is that how you chose your major? I don't want to do accounting or marketing or sales, so I'm gonna do supply chain.
Yes,
I was taking way too many classes I did not really interested in. So I was like, well, I like the supply chain. Let's do more of it.
That's fair. I like that. I like that. Well, Brother Christensen, I apologize for the lack of attendance.
I guess if there's only four of you, you can boo me out of here whenever you've heard enough.
I'm here.
Uh, yeah, thanks for letting me come in. So I wanted to talk, so I'm Brother Christensen. I do teach in the marketing department. But I'm going to talk about an area that really cuts across marketing and supply chain and finance and data and analytics and business management. Like it's kind of at a place where a lot of things come together. And it's a new space that we're starting to fill out. We have a merchandising society now. We have a class, which you saw, Marketing 360 as the class on category management and merchandising. We run some projects, usually one or two a year, or we run projects where we're working with clients on kind of data questions around merchandising and category management. And the best thing is we have a bunch of students who have found really, really good jobs in this space. So, and I would say that many of them are supply chain management.
So far.
Sorry.
You're good. No worries.
Supply chain management majors as they are marketing majors. It just so happens that I worked in this space a little bit before, and so I created the class, and so I'm in the marketing department, so we're teaching it there. But it really does apply to everyone. You were out in Metville earlier this semester,
right.
and like there's one of the guys who was a supply chain major when I first started working here in 2019, 2020. I used to play basketball with him at the I Center. He's now running like a $6 or $7 billion category at Walmart. Because when you own like about from like here to the wall, if you own that much space in Walmart, it's about $5 or $6 billion worth of so anyway, lots of good jobs, and it's not just Walmart. We've got people in a number of different roles. But here's what it really is: it's manufacturers of brands that make like consumer packaged goods. So think if you were going to Walmart or Rollins or Albertsons, like all the stuff you buy there that's like branded products. So think Oreos or Huggies diapers or Kleenex tissues or like anything like that. They make them, they sell them to the retailer. That creates a supply chain relationship, right?
Mhm.
So the retailers are buying from the manufacturer, so there's a negotiation that happens with the buyer. But there's also a lot of things that happen in that relationship that's ongoing, because once they agree, this is what we want to have on the shelf, they have to keep replenishing it. They have to make sure it doesn't go out of stock, and they need to make sure they're buying and ordering at the right amount of time. And so there are teams of people that work for the retailer, and there are teams of people that work for the manufacturer that collaborate with each other to try and make the things happen in a retail environment that you see. So if any of you ever walked into like, Walmart or a grocery store and have the questions like, I wonder why they decided to put this display right in the lobby as I walk in. Or I wonder why when I'm walking down the halls, they decided that the end caps are going to have these things on them. Or certain things are going to be on sale and other things aren't going to be on sale. There's a whole bunch of data and analytics that goes into that, and it usually happens somewhere between the manufacturer and the retailer working together to try and create a better business. And so, anyway, that's kind of what it is. Marketing 360, I'm teaching kind of for the third time this semester, but this semester is the first time that it's been called Marketing 360. Before it was just a special projects class, and so you wouldn't have been able to find it in the catalog. Now you can find it in the catalog, but I'm realizing it's not set up well yet to show up in your grad planner. And so we've got some work to do to get it to show up in your grad planner. But I know, are you guys mostly supply chain majors?
Yeah, they're all majors. Yep.
Okay.
This was
This
all
morning,
majors.
it wasn't also.
Yeah.
I
I
thought it was
don't think there was
supply chain
one
majors.
this morning that showed up. Right.
So Brother Everhard has said he's happy to kind of make substitutions to have this class count for like an elective or something in your major. So like if you're interested in it, don't not sign up for it just because you're worried it won't count. I think we can figure out how to make that happen. And the main reason is there's a whole bunch of people who have gone, who are supply chain major, who have gone and have landed really good internships and really good jobs in the space. Trying to think what else I might tell you. It will be in person. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be in person. I probably have had as many supply chain majors as marketing majors take it. So it definitely applies if you're interested. If you like using data to make decisions, if you like having big brands on your resume that like other people would recognize, like it's a great space to do that. We're finding that there are more jobs than we have students at this point, right? And it doesn't mean like everybody gets a job, but I mean it's like there's a lot of demand for people who have this skill set. So did I miss anything that I said this
No,
morning?
the other thought that comes to my mind is this is one for me, I feel like this is one of those classes where this is one that you're going to hit the ground running, right? This is the kind of class where when you learn skills from this class, you're going to apply them day one after this class.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like the real deal. And I love the combination of analytics and I love the combination here of understanding functional business knowledge, right? The combination of analytics and business knowledge. It's not just a business management piece. It's not just it's the business analytics. It's the data behind the business that's really driving the results. And you mentioned earlier today, every week, you know how you're doing. There's
Yeah.
going to results that are going to come perform every week. And you're like, okay, I need to react to this. I can see the data every week. We can improve, we can make changes.
Yeah.
So I like that combination. And I think this is probably one of the more marketable classes on campus, if not in the whole College of Business. Um, so it might just be worth it. If you already have even a job, it might be worth to say, come up to speed on what category management merchandising is because it's so integrative.
It's we do a lot of projects. We try to make it as experiential as possible, where we do projects that you kind of learn as you go. But the real goal is at the end, you're going to speak this language. So if you have an interview or if you're reaching out and doing kind of a networking interview, you're going to talk like you know what you're talking about, and it really plays well to the retailers and manufacturers that are hiring. And also, there's some people who love the idea of owning you guys know what a P&L is, profit and loss statement. So there's some people who love the idea of I'm the one in charge. I get to make all the
Yeah, yeah.
decisions, and I'm the buyer. And there are roles for that person. Like they get to make all the decisions about this 20-foot set that they have at Walmart. There are others who are like, I'd rather be in a support role. I don't know that I'd really want to be the person totally in charge, but there are also roles for people who are in replenishment. They're just running all the analysis and making sure that we're putting our orders in at the right times and they're supporting that buyer, or they're doing pricing analysis. And so I think there's a role for lots of different kind of personalities and skill sets. And so anyway, I'm here mostly as an invitation. If you're interested, sign up for the class. We'd love to have you in class in the fall. Because it's not in grad planner, right? I'm going around and doing a little bit of a road show. Hopefully I won't be doing a year from now once we get all that set up. But we'd love to have you in class. If you're not sure, or if you're like, I think I would be interested, but I want to make sure that I could really get credit in the major for it, just reach out to me and I'm happy to help make that connection back for Brother Everhard or Brother
Yeah,
Chapman.
Brother Everhard's already mentioned this
Yes,
this will
he said
count.
something.
The door's open.
He's happy to
Yeah.
do so. So anyway, if you got any questions for me, feel free to reach out.
One more thought.
Yeah.
I was in Bentonville, talked to this guy named Jackson, works at Walmart. Just like you said, he literally has a shelf about maybe smaller than that. From here, the whiteboard size here.
Yep.
And he manages all of the it's not the protein, fiber. Basically all the fiber pills you see in every Walmart store, he manages all of that. And what was really interesting to me is because he manages the P&L, his ability to innovate, not just at Walmart, but with Walmart suppliers is really, really interesting. So here's a guy who is managing product, but he's getting innovation in terms of health and medicine, in terms of chemical, right? In terms of all of the business, all of what makes up Walmart's it's like this fiber and protein category. It's absolutely fascinating. And it's this huge scale. But anyways, it was just the
Every time we go,
innovation space is
Yeah.
just it's wild.
every
It's
time we go,
unbelievable.
there's one there's a guy who's a former BYU grad who he works over. I'm hesitant to call it frozen pizza. It's kind of frozen pizza, but it's kind of like the pre-made pizzas that are a little bit nicer than a normal frozen pizza. And part of his job is he gets to go to Italy to all the pizza shows
Mm,
because he's driving the innovation. He says, we know from our data, we know the flavor profiles that people care about. We just need to find like legit Italian manufacturers who can meet our
yeah,
needs.
yeah.
So we can source product from you and bring it in and market it under the market side, whatever the Walmart private label brand is. And it's fun. Anyway, I spent enough
Yeah.
time, but
No, that's great.
thanks for letting me come in
That's
and
really
talk
good.
about it. And if you have
Appreciate
questions,
that.
or if you have friends who you think would be interested, share with them as well. And
And I understand there's also a merchandising society,
yeah, it's a merchandising society. It meets at the same time as the other societies, so 11:30 on Thursdays. I think I don't know if we're done for the. We might be done for this semester.
had some great speakers this
So
semester.
yeah, we got
Great speakers.
some good semesters or a lot of good speakers. So if you're interested next semester as well, look for that.
Yeah. Some great. I've been really impressed.
Yeah, very good.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that was the one we combined with Maxwell.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So yeah, what's that?
I'm
Oh yeah, you're maxed out, Chris.
getting maxed out.
Yeah, is it 120, 140?
Yeah, I'll be.
I mean, I think you can appeal and ask,
I mean, I could.
give me one more class because it's related. Yeah,
Realistically, 120.
you could probably could. Yeah,
That time, I'm not.
right, right. And I know you're working 2 or 3 TAs, so yeah. So raise your hand if you might be interested in this class.
Yeah, I might be. My big thing is I just don't know. Like, is there one section of it?
Yeah, it'll be one section.
Do you know what time it's gonna?
I don't. Should we look it up?
Well, and also go through the appeal thing too. Now that I
If it's my last, is it your last semester?
next semester,
Then it should.
but Chapman, you give me for one more semester, dude.
Yes.
If it's your last semester, they. You just kind of for your grad plan and just be like, you're over.
Yeah.
It's your last semester, so they're not.
I also know that you can.
Tuesday, Thursday, 9:45 a.m. But it's a great class, and they do projects. I mean, it's great.
I feel like that should be a prerequisite to go.
That's an interesting point. There is a certificate. If you take this class, global sourcing class, you can get a merchandising certificate. He didn't mention that part.
I should get that too.
Yeah, you could get it.
A data analytics, business fundamentals, and then
Merchandising. That's a great combo.
yeah, the Six Sigma,
What? JC.
AT340.
That's great. That's great. That's a great combo.
Nervous for your class next semester. Heard some things.
Which one? The MET 340?
No, you're the other 460.
Oh, what have you heard?
Just that it's a little tough. A little rigor.
Who said that? Elijah, did you say that?
No, I think it
Did Rainen say that? You can't believe everything Rainen says.
that is Ash,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
but I also know Ash.
Yeah, her that semester was a little bit harder than average, actually. Yeah, that checks out.
Man, it's
Okay.
it is a good bit of work because you're working with an outside firm. So because of that specifically is a good bit of work, but I wouldn't say that it's
Like,
Oh,
what
Jackson's
do you
here.
mean working with an outside? But I don't want you to reveal it too much. But is it like we're gonna go on site or fly it?
so.
For sure. Yeah, we have a client, man. We have a client that we do a project with, and we use class time to do that, hopefully.
They're gonna
In the fall, yes. Yes, you will have to find one.
But oh,
Unique Supply. So did Elijah's working with Unique Supply right now this semester too. We've done 2 back-to-back Unique Supplies.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a fun time. It's good for work.
Yeah, yeah.
The book you read in that class.
Good book. Wells, you haven't taken that class, right? You too, huh? Hey, Hiram, you taking that one in the fall too? The 461 advanced topics? Okay.
I have a copy of it.
I might,
It's a great class.
yeah, no, I want to go to more societies, so it's just always like writing those
No, you
things.
never showed up
I know, I'm literally working on that time. I was telling,
there are things more important than the system.
I was telling Galbraith, I'm like, dude, it would be so nice if they did something like once a Saturday. It's like all day. I know that's tough, but like,
Yeah.
I feel like then more people, more clients would actually show up too, because it's on the weekend. So it's easier for them not to just work, for them to come on a weekend. And then they spend, the afternoon without feeling rushed or anything with only an hour on Thursdays. I don't
Yeah,
know, that's just,
yeah. Yeah. That's great. Okay, good. Um, great. I don't think we've had an opening prayer here. I'm up for an opening prayer. Why don't we pray and then we'll dive into class. So what we're going to do today is this is our last day of content for the entire semester. We are talking about modifying databases with VBA. I've heard it said by some reputable, credible opinionators, opinionators, that the combination of VBA and SQL is all you need from college. You don't need Python. You don't need HTML. You don't need CSS. You just need VBA and SQL. I don't know if I was there at one point, but I think I've moved beyond that a little bit. But the power of combining VBA with SQL really is quite strong. And so the final, what do you call it? The peak of this course is this database modification project. And what we're going to talk about today is critical to helping out with the project. So we have the user forms project that's due today. This is the extra credit product. Project. I think I've had about half the class get a substantial grade on that, like over 70% at this point, which is good. But that's still available up until tonight. And there's quite a few students who don't get 100% on it, and they just, any point towards this project is extra credit. So I think they're managing their time investment for the return, which is completely fine. But it is up to 90 points, so it's got a pretty good runway there. And then we've got the project database modification due a week from today. Rainan's on the fence about even doing the database modification project at this point.
Now, are the instructions for the database modification project in that link?
That's right. So if you go to the project here, it'll tell you to download the file. And what's interesting here is when you download this file, let me save this, open it. You also need to download, there's a database, an Access database. Have you ever worked with Access? Anybody ever worked with Access in this room? Man, it used to be that Access was the go-to a long time ago. But if I pull up the assignment here, the instruction sheet, there's another database download that you need to download. And you need to download a bunch of data files as well. And if I were to give you kind of the 30-second version of what this project is, this is real data from an FBI data source for the years 2006 and 2010. And we're building or automating pulling data from these files. And there's 50 files, one for each state. And we're pulling the data from the Excel files, putting it into the database. So that's what this project is all about. We're just automating the insertion of data from Excel into this database. And this is the database. It's an Access database. It turns out that, yeah, Access was amazing back in the day. There's a lot of people that used it. It was the go-to desktop database in the office world for a long time. And databases just got bigger and better, and Access kind of just fell away, mostly because they centralized data sources. And so once you started centralizing data across the company, then Access database was just less useful because everybody having different data on their own computers was terrible compared to having one central database that everybody could access. So Microsoft, this is a Microsoft product. Microsoft Access Database is really not that common anymore. But for the purposes of this assignment, it makes the assignment nice and easy because we can integrate that data together with your specific machine, your specific spreadsheets. And it is kind of cool to see Microsoft Access. It's still out there in the business world, just much less common because most databases are all centralized now.
Like, so that's why they've been updating Excel essentially, is because they saw what happened with Access.
Yeah.
So they'll always like it.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't that great?
Yeah, I'm also wondering too, is that like basically the background section of Power BI?
Before Power BI, there was Access.
Okay. It looks kind of similar, doing like merging.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Access has been around for a long time. Yeah, before Power BI. I think there was some demand to merge some of the functionality of Access into Excel, and that was kind of the genesis of Power BI. Because there is some functionality overlap there, especially in terms of the quantity of data and what you can do with that data. Um, and the visualizations also improved with Power BI. But yeah, so that's it for the class. So we have these two assignments, and that is it. Pretty cool. So what we're going to cover today is modifying databases with VBA. And we've got two assignments left. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. There's also, I believe there is some points for the course evaluation as well, which I should put that on that page. Okay, why don't we say a prayer and we'll just dive in. There's these two files we need to download if you want to start downloading those. And anybody feeling so inclined to offer some prayer for us? Anybody would need some blessings? Who's in need of some blessings? JC's like, absolutely. JC, thank you.
Father, we're grateful for the opportunity to come here today to learn again from Brother Chapman, and we're grateful for the opportunities, experiences, and knowledge that we have gained from him so far throughout the semester. And we ask that we'll be able to identify the areas where we can apply it throughout our future career endeavors. And we ask a special blessing upon those who aren't here today. Be able to end the semester strong and say some things just Christ.
Amen. Thank you for that. I think that's helpful. We only have 6 today. Woo! Less than half.
Better than 4.
Better than 4. Increased by 50%. You don't have to sit all the way back there in the back if you don't want to, Elijah. Okay. We're pretty spread out. Raiden, Hiram, you guys can move closer if you want. Just throwing that out there. You're welcome to move closer to the front if you, but whatever. Whatever you guys want, Fine, fine. Okay, so let's download both these files. Both these files need to be in the same directory. That's the only thing. When you download these two files for today, they both need to be the same directory. There's Francis. Now we're talking. Francis is here. I'm going to download this. Yeah, I'll put it right here. And I'm going to download this file. And I'll just put it in the same directory. And save as. And yep, that's the same directory. I'll open the folder for this directory, right click on the Excel file, properties, and unblock. So I can use the VBA. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, great. Francis is good with that. And yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to write some code. And this code is going to help us write some data into the database. So I'm going to open up my Visual Basic and let's talk about some of this code. Um, First thing, we did this last time in class on Wednesday. We had to make sure, question? Oh,
Try the second. The first.
This one. No.
oh yeah, that one's not gonna, that one's a different file too, actually. The W25 file? Oh, really? Uh-oh. Okay, we got permissions problems. We got permission. Did anybody download that file?
No, I got the first one now.
This one right here, DB right? Nobody got that one? That probably means I need to publish it. Let me see if I can change the permissions real fast. Sorry about that. DB right, edit permissions, publish. Does that make a difference now? So if you click on that file again, can you download it now? So if I go to modifying databases with VBA, click on this DB right. Does that work? Oh, really? Here, let me try this. Let me just insert this link right there. Insert course document, DB right. Let's try that. And save. Okay, refresh that. See if that works now. Oh yeah, there's an arrow next to it. Does that work? Excellent. Great. So we'll right click on that file in our File Explorer, make sure that it is unblocked. Properties unblocked, and then it goes away. So we're good. Okay, great.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So about almost every single file we've had to unblock
Yeah.
for this course. Have you found like in the actual you do that as well?
Yeah, it's a Microsoft feature.
I don't.
And you don't have to unblock it. That's kind of nice. Gemini.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, you can. That's true. You can add a folder to trust. Yep. Okay, good. Okay, so last time we talked about this tools references idea. The first thing we have to make sure we do in these situations when we're working with databases is to make sure that we have the packages required to interact with the database, right? So let's just double check. If we go to Tools, References, we should have Microsoft ActiveX Data Object 6.1 Library checked in this list, right? Just should come up. So let's just make sure we got that. Has everybody got that? Tools, References, 6.1, any version, even any version's great. Doesn't really matter. Did you guys hear about Josh?
We were working on our presentation last night, that we said, hey, so.
He just took off. It's pretty cool.
One of the guys in our class, his wife.
Really, else this was.
Oh, 50%. Checks out. Well,
Get out.
yeah, right.
Tools, right?
Yes, that's right. Tools, References. And then we're going to look for the Microsoft. So do you have yours? Yeah, good. You're set. That's like a one-time thing. Just making sure we had that all done. Okay, good. Now that that's there, now we can access some of the packages that we need, for example, to create a new database connection object. So that's how we're tapping into this database is it's right there. It's already in our code. Okay, great. And last time we talked about having a connection string to the database. We talked about this, right? So here is a connection string. Here's all the information we need to connect to the database. For example, here is a server name. This is the URL on the internet, in the interspace, the interwebs. And on that server, on this server place, we have a database. The name of the database is VBA. And then we have a type of SQL server. There's all kinds of database servers, right? Some of the big ones are Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, which is this one. Those are probably the two biggest ones at this point. What's another one? Uh, MySQL is another one. And they each have Postgres is another one. They each have a little bit different syntax. So you have to be careful with some of the syntax that you use, but the general principles are all the same across different SQL servers. So then we also have a username and a password in here. So we have to access this server using a username and password. And all of that is part of this connection string. It's just typed in, right? So we have that in this CS object. And we're going to open the CS object. And this is a SQL statement. Again, raise your hands if you're familiar with SQL. Done a little bit of SQL in the past. Okay, so you should recognize this for all you SQL experts. What are we trying to do here? What is this statement saying?
Trying to insert columns,
Not trying to insert columns.
or
That's it. That's right. So we're trying to input these values into these columns into this database, into this table. This is a table right here. So we're saying insert into the work log table. Here are the columns that we want to insert into. And then here are the values that we want to put into those columns. Yeah. Yeah, that's a username, right? So that aligns with the username. Jappleseed. I like that. What's a Jappleseed? Yeah, that's short for Johnny Appleseed. You guys heard of Johnny Appleseed, right?
yeah,
So Johnny Appleseed's real name was John Chapman.
that's how it works.
That's it. Okay, then we have a workbook name. So we have a name of a file. We have a sheet name. We have the address, a cell address, A1. We have a formula inside of that address. And then we have a cell value of 100. Okay, so here's the scenario here. Have you ever had to do some kind of Excel demonstration as a part of a job interview?
I almost had to for hours.
Really?
Yeah.
What role?
I think it was like
Okay, very cool. Nice.
a little. Yeah, so they do. That's the first time
Great.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's not that common, but it happens. I've seen it in some consulting or some financial banking. What do you call that? Some roles, they want you to do a little bit of an Excel test. So let's say that the scenario here is we're building some VBA code so that any changes that we make to our Excel sheet, we're going to send any of those changes to a database so that the employer can track how this applicant does in Excel. Isn't that interesting? So if we make any changes to Excel, we're going to create a SQL statement that connects to a database to pass along any of those changes into that database, right? We're going to track somebody in their employment interview. Kind of interesting idea. So that's kind of the scenario that we're creating for today.
So is it always going to input cell 100 or is it going to essentially go down from like cell 100?
Yeah, good question. I've put in some dummy data here. And what we want to do is we want to change this input data. So no matter what cell they work on, no matter what changes they make in the entire workbook, we can capture we can capture the value, we can capture the formula, what cell they're on, what sheet they're on, what file they're on, and their username. Wouldn't this be great? What if we did this like in this class to track all of your Excel movements and you got graded by
That sounds like one test for your next.
put that on the docket for next semester, Brother Chapman. Nice. There you go.
Good enough.
That's right. I'll say with JC's approval.
I'll come into the class and be like, I give you my approval. He said,
But you're exactly right. So we need to make some changes to this code so that it doesn't matter what cell they're on, we're going to track everything they generate. All I've done here is just some dummy data just so we can get this started and just start and then we're going to change it. We're going to come back and change it. So for example, let's start changing this, but let's test this SQL statement first, okay? So if we just run this, if I run this code, what do we expect to happen? Well, we expect to see this values, these data inside this SQL table. Did you really?
Yep.
Already?
Yep.
Wait, what did you do?
100% of the time.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's a little bit off topic, but good job.
There's no point in last things. I'm here to watch.
I'm here to watch, but I don't.
I've told him this several times.
So let it be written.
So let me show you where this database is. Here's another way to access this database. And here is the work log table. So I'm going to do some SQL statement here. I'm going to run this SQL statement. This is going to tell me what's in this database. Okay, so far we have the following information in this database. And let me go ahead and order by event ID and descending, and that will put the most recent at the top. Okay, great. Now I'm going to run this in my code here. And what does it say? Well, it says what macro to run. Notice it's asking for two inputs to run this sub, a worksheet and a cell value. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this sub up here, which calls this record edit sub. And it's going to pass the active sheet and the active cell into this sub, right? So if I come to my active sheet, here I am, sheet 1, I'm in cell B10. If I run this sub up here, it'll take sheet 1, B10, pass it to this sub, and it can run this up. So I'll hit play here. It did something, and then it stopped. So now we'll check, and we'll go back to the server. What happened? And there it is. So I just did it once. We had 2 other people run it. There was there's the Japple seed. There's the workbook name. That's the file name. There's the sheet, the address of the cell, and the formula. Very good. We could run, and the value. We could run this again. We could change these inputs here. You could put your own username. You don't have to use Jappleseed.
To use, Undertaker.
Who's that?
You don't know who Undertaker is?
No, sounds vicious though.
He's WWE wrestler. You should just look up a picture of him. He's pretty cool.
Sounds,
He's got a cool theme song.
he does not look happy to me.
He uses coffins. Yeah, he like caskets. Yeah, his entrance is him like coming out of a casket. It's pretty cool.
21-0 streak. Nah, he's just hype. He's not a real deal. He's just hype.
21-0.
It's just weird.
I mean, that is 21 losses.
Is that really true? That's terrible. That's funny. Okay, great. So what we've done is we know at this point that the SQL statement works. So we're not doing too much SQL in this class, but we know enough now to say yes, this code, as we have it here, will connect to a database. It will insert data. and it will insert the values that we put here. So now the next step is, how do we make these values variable and not hard coded like this? How do we make them variable? So let's do this. Let's take sheet one. So instead of hard coding this sheet one name in here, what we really want to do is we want to capture the name of this sheet. So let me go ahead and rename this. Let's call it data, a data sheet. And let's assume there's going to be data here on the sheet. But if I were to run this again, it still would say sheet one because this is hard coded. So what I want to do here is I want to take out sheet one from this statement, and I'm going to create a parameter. I'm going to create my own variable here, a placeholder for me to switch out and replace. And let's just do this. I'll just do open bracket, capital sheet, close bracket. This is nothing special. There's no VBA reserved word here. This is just something that I'm putting into the code to tell it, I'm going to replace you. It's just a reminder for me. Okay. So what we're going to do then, good question. I'm going to take the apostrophes out. We'll come back to that in a second. We'll have to add them in when we replace this, right? But for now, I'll go ahead and take them out. So what I'll do then is I'll say, okay, and again, I'm executing this SQL statement down here. All I'm doing up here is I'm creating this SQL statement here. I haven't run the SQL statement. It gets run down here. So I'm going to replace this. So there's a formula or a function rather that's called replace. So I'll do SQL equals replace. What am I going to replace? I'm going to take my current SQL string. So that's the first input here. And I'm going to find my placeholder in that string. And what am I going to replace it with? I'm going to replace it with SH is what's passed to this sub, right? SH is the name of the worksheet. And I'm going to say, what is the name property of that worksheet? Okay, so what I'm saying is replace this with the name of the worksheet. That's it. So I've built this placeholder and I'm going to replace it with the name. The other thing I need to do here is I need to add the quotes. Part of a SQL statement, part of the way the SQL server knows that it's text that we're sending it is we got to have these quotes, right? These single quotes here. So we could do this. We could leave them in here for now. Maybe we'll do that just for real quick. We'll leave the single quotes in here in the SQL statement, and then we'll take those out in just a second. That way we're only replacing the name of the sheet. We've already got these single quotes here. Let's do that. And then if we run this, do you think it'll work? Let's try it. I'm going to debug.print the SQL statement. So we should see it up here. Let me delete what I've got here in the immediate window. Let me run this. I'll hit play. I don't like Undertaker. Sorry. I'm going to go back to, let's do Johnny Appleseed. And we're expecting to see all the same values here, except for the fact that this sheet should be replaced by the name of my sheet here, right? In fact, if I were just to rename this, just so I know it's my sheet, what if I just put Chapman on the end of it? So I'm going to run this code. What happens? It says, what are you going to run? Yeah, I'll run the Acme sub runner one. That will send the information. And there it is. So it created this in SQL statement. And look, there it is. Data Chapman is part of the values now as part of that SQL statement. So I can check that if I go back to this website here and run the query, we should see, there it is, Johnny Appleseed, Data Chapman. There I am. Wait, nobody else has done this? Is anybody else running this?
What, the SQL pad?
Yeah, yeah, the VBA code on their computer.
Trying.
Is it working? Nice. There we go. There's some, wait, somebody else ran that. Somebody using my name. Who is it? Hiram? Is that you?
Do you have to like send it?
So yeah, let me see if you guys can do this. See if we can get some more. Oh yeah, you bet. Go back to the VBA. So again, what we've done is we've created a placeholder, right? Open bracket sheet, and it could be anything. I'm just saying we'll just use that placeholder. I'll replace that with the actual name of the sheet. So who's got it?
You're supposed to clear your name.
Yeah, you can run because it's asking for two inputs here. If you run the Acme sub runner, it will send those inputs to that sub. So that's how you run that. Yeah.
But it should have done it.
Looks like, oh, now you've got, I can already tell you've got a sheet one here. And then you've got a sheet here. So those need to be the same.
So it just needs to be sheet.
Yeah. Or sheet one. You can just then try it one more time. Yeah, it works. Nice. Okay. The fact that you got that coming up, that's really good. Okay. Let me refresh. We should see your sheet one or your sheet. What's the name of your sheet, JC? That's the name of your sheet. I feel like you have a little bit of an infatuation. Oh, good. Eberhard is here. Great. Love it.
You
The spirit of Eberhard. Francis, how'd it go?
Like,
Yep, that works. Okay, invalid column name sheet one. Okay, open up your SQL statement here. Can you make this bigger? Maybe expand that out. And what does this say here? So we've got, oh, that's your media window. Okay, you got a sheet here. You're replacing that sheet with this one, SH name. What is your sheet name?
Oh. How did I?
Oh, you know what? I think you need the single quotes around your sheet first. This one right there.
Okay.
So in front of that, yeah, do a single quote. Because as part of the SQL statement, you have to have those single quotes. Now run that again, see if that works. I think that's all you needed. Yep, run that. Nice. Okay, let me refresh. Let's see if we got Francis up here. Come on, big money, big money. Darth Raven. Francis, is that you? Darth Raven?
No, congressman.
Oh, you're Congressman. Okay, I think that's fair. I like that. Who's Darth? I don't even know. Is that a Jedi? That's Wells. It's Hiram. I could see Hiram being a Darth Sith Lord.
No, I did something far more elegant. Did I do that right though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and you've got the single quotes. That looks great.
Okay, I
You're
ran.
still Jay Appleseed though.
Oh, what do I need to do for that?
You got to put in your favorite WWE wrestler. I guess that's what we're doing.
Okay.
You know what, Hiram? Put in your favorite apostle.
Okay.
Put in Raynon for that matter. He's not doing it, obviously.
No, I am now.
Now you are. Elijah, are you Darth Vader? Darth Vaden? Darth...
I'm Everhard.
You're Everhard. Of course you are. Great. So you got it to work.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Excellent. Carson? What name did you pick? Just out of curiosity. Oh, nice. That's nice and short. Okay, great. So if I run this, we're looking for, look at this. Now we're talking. Once upon a time, swells. There's swells. Peter the Beloved. Nice. And there's your mom. My mom would not be able to do this if I'm honest. Davy Youngberg. That's it. Okay, great. So what we're doing here is we're creating a placeholder and then we're putting in the real name here. Okay. So let's do this. We can do this a couple different ways. I want to make one more change, and what we're going to do here is we need to replace all of these values, all these inputs with placeholders so that any change we make anywhere to the spreadsheet will be captured, right? Right now, these are hard coded, right? These are not going to change, and we need to make some placeholders for this. Before we do that, I want to make one more change. And the reason why I'm going to make this change will become apparent here in a few minutes. I'm going to take out the single quotes around my sheet, and I am going to add them down in here. It turns out that if I, just to show you how we're going to do this, character 39 is a single quote, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use character 39. If we remember, we did something like this a long time ago where we're saying, what is the ASCII character of a single quote, right? So if I did an ASCII character of a single quote is 39, that's the ASCII code. And so if I use character 39, I'm basically saying, give me a single quote, right? This is kind of the code name behind the scenes, computer writing, script stuff for give me a single quote. And let me show you why we need to do this, okay? I'm going to show you by changing my sheet name to Chapman's data, okay? And it has an apostrophe here in the sheet name, okay? Maybe you're foreshadowing, maybe you can already tell what the problem is going to be. If I have an apostrophe in my sheet name, is this really going to work? Let's try it. I'll run it, and it gives me an error. What does it say? Incorrect syntax near data, apostrophe S data. If we look at this, what happens here? What we're saying here is we are trying to insert values, but that apostrophe does not allow us to put it into SQL statement, right? It's the SQL server's reading this and it's like, okay, yeah, I get this. This is a string literal. Yep, we'll put that in. Here's another string literal. That's right. We'll put that in. Um, here is, oh, wait a minute. There's no apostrophe here. So it's looking at this thing like, oh, I don't know what this is. I'm expecting an apostrophe here, and here's the first apostrophe, but there's no apostrophe over here. And so we've actually got two problems going on here. We need an apostrophe here, but this apostrophe is going to cause us problems. And it turns out what we need to do is put another apostrophe there to tell it what we really want is one apostrophe. So what this should look like is we should have an apostrophe here. We should have two apostrophes there and another apostrophe there. That's what we're going to have to send to the SQL server for this to work. If it sees a double, those are both single. If it sees two single apostrophes, it's going to recognize that and say, oh, okay, what you really want is just one. Kind of weird. SQL's a little bit weird in this sense. Yes, that's right. But that's what we got to do. Question? Right, that doesn't work here. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, we can try it. Let's try double quote. Let's see, what is the wow. What is the character for that? I don't even know what that is. Yeah, yeah, that's not gonna work. Nope, not gonna work. So what we need to do is we need to make our insert statement look like this, right? We have an apostrophe at the beginning, apostrophe at the end, and any apostrophe that we find in the name, we've got to have another apostrophe. So let's do this. Let's create another function. So I'm going to come down here to the end of this sub, and to help us solve this problem, I'm going to create a function. And let's call this function prep SQL value, VAL, something like that. We'll pass it some data, and then we'll return a string. So we're going to pass it some data. We've got data coming into the function. We're just going to pass it, for example, the name of our sheet. We'll pass it the name of our sheet. And if there is an apostrophe, I want to add another apostrophe to it. Okay, that's the goal of this function. So let's say prep SQL value is equal to I'm going to go ahead and include the apostrophe at the beginning. So this is our character 39. That's the apostrophe. I'm going to concatenate that with a replace function. This gets a little bit dirty. What am I going to replace? I'm going to take the data string that's put in here. Yes, and I'm going to search for if there's an apostrophe, and I'm going to replace it with an apostrophe and a second apostrophe. Kind of weird. We're searching for the one. And we're going to replace it with two. You're saying instead of this, can I just put this here? Like apostrophe in quotes. It's like a one apostrophe in quotes. Let's try it. Yeah, you could. It's probably really hard to see from the screen. I think that would work technically. So I think from a visual perspective, because you're in the back of the class, but you're right, it's the same thing. Functionally, it's the same thing. I'm just using the character 39 mostly because it's much easier to read. But we could use double quote, single quote, double quote, right? I think that would work too. Okay, so what I've done is I'm going to replace, so this replace function is saying, take the data input, look for a single quote, for each one of those, replace it with two single quotes. And then at the very end of this, don't forget the last part of this, add the closing apostrophe, okay? So look at that really carefully. What we're saying is, take this data string, and at the beginning of it, add an apostrophe. Again, we need that for the SQL statement. But look for the apostrophe inside of that data string and replace it with two apostrophes concatenated together. And then close that. Once that's closed off, then we add another apostrophe at the end. So we have our beginning apostrophe, our first apostrophe, and we've replaced anything inside with two apostrophes. Not bad, right? That's a lot of character 39s. Amen, brother. Amen. So let's do this. In addition to this, what if the data is blank? What if there's nothing we're passing to it? We don't want this to error out. So let's do an if statement. If the length of the data is equal to 0, then what should we do? Then let's say prep the return value, prep seek value, SQL value is equal to, let's call this null. I'll put null in double quotes. Okay. So if data that's passed to this function, there's the length of that is 0, meaning there's no data in the cell, right? If we're sending this information and there's nothing in that cell, I don't want to send it anything to the database server. Just send the word null. It turns out null for a SQL database server is how you say no data. This is different than this, right? If we say double quotes, and by the way, this is rough. For understanding databases, this is one of those concepts that's going to help you in the long run. The difference between Excel and a database when it comes to no data is different worlds completely, right? We can ask Excel if the cell is blank, right? Double quotes, there's nothing in between here. It's empty for Excel. But if we were to put double quotes into a SQL database, it's actually a string, an empty string, which is not nothing. Does that make sense? No, it would not be null. That's exactly the point. So we have to be very specific and tell the database server null, right? So in fact, let me just show you what this looks like. If I were to say the sheet name is blank, right? Let's see, it's probably easier to do this with a value. Maybe it's easier to do this with a whole sub, actually. Actually, I think I like that idea. Let's do a quick, I'll just demonstration, right? Let me just show you this for demonstration purposes. You don't have to do this. I'm just going to show you this for demonstration purposes. Here's kind of a test sum, okay? Let's say here's a constant variable x. When you meet the man, say, Undertaker. Hey, Undertaker. Uh, um, let's see. Is this? I don't think this. I'm thinking about doing something easier. Let's say the formula is blank, so there's nothing in the cell, right? If we take this out and I say, just send this, run this code again, but send a blank formula value. Let's see what happens. I'm going to run this, and it didn't even like it. Oh, did I fix my other problem? No, I didn't. Here, let me fix this real quick. I'm just trying to show you what the difference is when we send a blank, like a double quotes with nothing there, versus sending something null. And that's the big difference here, is sending something null. Because this is worth understanding a little bit. Okay, so I have sent the formula, let's see, A1 and blank. And so, oh, interesting. Let's see what this looks like on the server side. When I come back to the server and run the server, we should have some formula that is blank. Right, this is blank. Now this looks like nothing's there, right? It turns out that that's very different value in a database from null. This is called an empty string. So this gets you into a lot of troubles. This is a no-no, in other words. What I'm saying is you should never do this, right? Whenever you're putting data into a database, you never want to say blank. It's actually better to say null. What that means is null is there's nothing there. An empty string in a database is a no-no. That's like a really bad idea. So if we run this one and we see what this does in the database, that's actually the true way to write there's no value there into a database. Does that make sense? If we put a blank string, an empty string into the database, that is not null. And so when you do a query to query, okay, how many records have no value in that? This is different than this. So that's a big point. The point here is that when we're down in our when we're downside in our function here, we need to make sure that if the length of this data string is 0, we need to make sure we send null inside of our function. Does that make sense? So if the length is 0, we're going to just return the value null. There's nothing in that cell, so we want null to be sent to the database server, okay? But what if there is something there, but what if it's numeric? So if it's a numeric value, then just send the data back, right? So let's do a else. Else if data is numeric, and so there's an is numeric function, is numeric. If this is numeric, then prep seek value is equal to data. Just send the data back, right? So if this is a number, it's fine. Just send it back. Else, if it's not a number and if it's not blank, then we're going to do this. We're going to replace any single apostrophe with 2 apostrophes, and we're going to add the first apostrophe at the beginning and the last apostrophe at the end. And that's it. Whew! How about that? Not bad. Does that make sense? So we put in here, I think I also need to add an end if. I always forget my end ifs for some reason. Even after all these years, it's kind of funny. I've put in my end if here, and I've got my function set up. So there's 3 scenarios. If it's blank, if the length is 0, we want to make sure we send the database null. If it's a number, well, then just send the number. It's fine. If it's a character, a string, then replace the apostrophes. Okay, great. So now we can come back up and use that formula, that function, as we send the name into the SQL statement. So in other words, I can say prep SQL value and put the sh.name inside parentheses to send the spreadsheet name through this function before it puts it into this new SQL statement. How about that? Whew. And then we're actually pretty close here. We've done a lot of the heavy lifting here to get this SQL statement to be variable. Does that make sense? So let's test this first before we go anywhere else. What I've got is I've got this prep SQL value function that's going to clean my spreadsheet name and add any apostrophes that I need. So let me go back and change this to an apostrophe. So I'll go back to make sure my sheet name has an apostrophe in it. Chapman's data. And let me run this sub. Let me take out my immediate window, clean that up. Let me run this sub. And it should, oh, one more thing. I've got these apostrophes here. If I ran this with these apostrophes, then I would have, let's just run it. I'll show you I'll show you what happens. If I run this, what happens? Gives me an error. It says, wait a minute, I've got double apostrophes around my sheet name, right? Because we added one in this function and we've added one here. So let me take these out of my SQL statement, and that should work beautifully now. Okay, so now when I run this, boom, look at that. We've got Chapman's data, insert into work log. Let's see, do I still have a second one here? Okay, oh, yeah. That is, what am I missing here? Did that work? Let me try this. What does this look like? Chapman's data, there it is. I think it worked. Johnny Appleseed. Where's Bob the tomato? Bob the tomato, do you have a...
I got kind of distracted. What, am I running the function?
Yes. How close do we get?
So, I don't know if this is relevant, but every time I try to run a macro now, this will pop up.
Yep, that's fine. And the reason is because on this macro up here, it's actually required to have two inputs. So it's saying, well, I can't run this unless you give me two inputs. But this macro says, run this macro and then give it two inputs. So if you run the Acme sub runner, then that will,
Oh, get that
there it
automatic.
is. You
Okay.
got it. Nice. Okay,
Did
so
that
you've
work?
got the function here, you've got the replace there. And the last thing we need to do is connect this function here with this sheet name. So
Oh, okay.
before the sheet name, before that S, go ahead and type in that function name. Perfect. Open parentheses and put the sh.name in parentheses
I see.
because you're sending the sheet name to that function. Great. Now run that one more time. Yep. Okay, let's look at this one. Incorrect syntax near sheet one. So let's debug that. Okay, now it looks like here you've got two single apostrophes before that sheet one. So up here you should have just one, and I think we have to take out that one and that one.
I see.
And of course the reason is because this function down here is putting those in for us.
Okay, so then that start again.
Yeah. Hey, not bad. Let's check it. Is that Bob the tomato? Come on, Bob. Come on, tomato. Let me see some Bob and tomato. Hey, we got it. We got Bob and his tomato. Okay, now Bob, do this. Change your sheet name and put an apostrophe into your sheet name and then see if it still works. Okay, we got swells. Scott, how you doing? Swell?
Is it better for a dash? Is that the problem?
That's a good point. Let's see. Do you have your immediate window open? Do this. Go to view and click on immediate window. And that'll show us down here and then scroll down to the bottom, I think. Yeah, and then scroll over to the right on this one. Because that's what that debug.print is. Oh, whoops, sorry. So nice. That actually looked like it worked. Did it work? What was the error?
I'm not sure. It was,
There are fewer. Oh, what was that?
what's that?
There are fewer columns in the insert statement than values specified. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. So maybe enter debug. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns that you're working with, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Which one did you take out?
Yeah, yeah. So I think I replaced the, oh, let me go back. Right, the A1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one is null right now. This could have been like the formula, right? This was this, what was it? B, something like that.
You don't need that.
I was just doing the demonstration, but if you just want to make sure you have 6. I think you have 7 inside of the values. So I think you got to get rid of 1. At this point, no. Let's check. But we're gonna make some changes to this next. So you can take out the null because I was doing the null instead of the sum. Perfect. So you stop that, run it again, see if it works. Francis, how's it coming? Oh, you're right there. JC, what's your error?
Function perhaps equal to string f1 data is equal to 0, then perhaps equal to.
Yeah, perhaps else if. Oh, okay. So you have to switch your else and your else if actually. Is that weird? So you do your else, is that right? Else if, then else if, no, you're right. Else if is numeric. Nope, that's not it. You were right. Because we're gonna check if it's numeric, then send it. Else 39, replace data 39 with 2 and 39. That was good. What was the error? Do the play again. Oh, block if without end if. Oh, you did what I did. No end if. Wow. You followed me too well, JC. So end function, you still need that, but above that, yeah, exactly. That should work. Yep, run that. Aim to correct syntax near sheet 1. Okay, yeah, you can end that. And here, let's do this. Click and drag on that bar right there, and just click and drag it. So click in this bar. Click and then just the inside the gray, yeah.
Okay.
Like inside the gray, that gray bar. Above that, right there. Click and drag it up to there. Oh, right over, right. Try it again. Click and drag right. A little bit over this way. Yeah, right there. Nice. Okay. Now we can see what it says. Okay, so you've got 2 apostrophes before sheet 1. So I think if you take that one out and that one, so before and after sheet, take those out because we put those into this function, right?
Oh,
Now run it and see if you can get it. Yeah. Not bad. Let's see if you're in.
okay.
Let's see if Congressman's in. What do we got? Incorrect word is. Where's the word is? Is numeric. Oh, I see. It's the name of your sheet. So you've got 2. You've got 2. So that means you have one here in this statement here. So because we put the character 39 in here, we can take it out before the sheet 1. Yeah, take that one out. And then take the one after that out. Because we've already got it. Beautiful. Now that should work. Nice. Not bad. Elijah? Oh, yeah, sure. So here is the function. If the length of the data is 0, then it's null. We're going to pass null. That means it's going to be nothing for the SQL server. Else, if it's a number, then just pass it along. Okay, we're just going to take that data and we're going to send it along. Else, take the data, find your apostrophe, replace it with 2 apostrophes, and put 1 apostrophe at the beginning and 1 at the end. That's it. That should work. Okay, let's see. Is that helpful, Elijah? Nice. Okay, look at this. I'm seeing your mom. I'm seeing Bob. I'm seeing Congressman. I'm seeing swells. This looks great. Let's see. Bob, did you run it with an apostrophe in your sheet name? And Congressman, did you do that too?
No.
Just change the sheet name to include an apostrophe. In fact, another way to do this is also if you make another sheet and you make a formula like, I don't know, 5 plus 5, and you make this the active cell on that sheet, and then you run this code again, the same principle applies, which is pretty cool. Because you're referencing sheet 1. Bob the Tomato, did you change? Look at that.
I misunderstood the retry of it.
Oh, nice. Rerun it. Nice. We got Larry. We got Everhard. Looks great. Awesome. Okay, very good. 2 more things to go. This is great. So there's 2 more things to do. One is we are going to replace all of this dummy data with parameters, right? So that we can make this variable. And then after that, we are going to make this run automatically so that we don't have to push any buttons to make it run. It'll just happen with any changes that we make to the sheet, which is pretty cool. So let's change these out first for parameters. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's do one for username. How about just UN? So I'm just going to replace this first input of the value statement with a placeholder, open bracket UN, right? And then what I'm going to come down here is I'm going to do another SQL and I'm going to do replace. Take the SQL statement and find where it says UN and replace that with something. What am I going to replace it with? So here is an interesting one. Did you know that there is in the application a property called username? It's like the username inside of Excel. So we can actually use the username embedded in the Excel application as our input. How about that? So I'm saying replace this UN with the username in the application. Pretty cool. If the username has an apostrophe, that would be an error, right? That would error out. So just to be extra cautious, we're going to throw this into the prep SQL value function. And then another ending parentheses. We're going to take that application.username, we're going to send it to the prep SQL value function, just in case there's an apostrophe there, so it doesn't mess up our SQL. Awesome. Let's do the next one. Let's call this one, this is what, the book, the workbook. So let's replace this workbook with, how about just book? Open bracket, book, close bracket. So, no, they don't. We can do whatever we want, right? These are just placeholders that we are making up here. So there's nothing significant here. I am just trying to be consistent a little bit with capital letters, but you can do whatever you want, right? The square brackets are not very common in VBA, so that's another way to kind of distinguish it from any other function or anything else. But let's do another one. So let's replace the SQL statement with book. I'm just going to make sure that I do exactly the same down here. Let's throw that through the prepare SQL value function. And what are we going to use here? We're going to take the worksheet, and there's a value called parent name. Parent.name. Is that what it is? Pretty sure. What is the parent of the worksheet? That's going to be the workbook name, right? So the name of the parent of the sheet, this is going to resolve to the workbook name, and we'll put that in there. Excellent. Next we have here is A1. This is the address. So let's call this cell, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it cell. So we'll do another replace, SQL replace, and look for cell. And sure enough, let's throw it through the function. And what is the cell here? Well, the cell, they're sending it the cell right here, right? The target is the cell. Let's do this for the target cell. There's actually a way, active cell dot address. That gives us the address of the cell, right? We can also say active cell dot address dot, or excuse me, open parentheses, false, false. And that will give us the same address, but just without the anchoring, right? So let's use this notation here just to give us a little bit cleaner address notation. Instead of the dollar signs, we'll just do it without the dollar signs. So we'll say target dot address false, false. And let's see, I think I need a space between my false. Oh, a third one. Good catch. Very good. Excellent. 3 closing parentheses. Okay, great. We've got 2 more to go here in our SQL statement. So the next one is the formula, and we can change this to the formula. Sure, formula. And I'll be sure to take out this first apostrophe and the last apostrophe. And let's do a SQL replace for that. SQL is equal to replace formula, close bracket. We'll throw this also into the prep SQL value function. And in this case, we're going to use the target. What's the target? The target has a formula property. So it says just pass that target formula property to the SQL server. And I need another closing parentheses at the end, 2 of them. Okay, great. Last but not least is the value of that cell. So let's call this value. Open bracket, value, close bracket. And one more SQL replace statement, when we should be good. SQL equals replace, take the current SQL string, look for value, send it to the prep SQL function, and we'll say target.value and close parentheses. Woo! Oh dear, that is pretty cool. Okay, now all of these inputs are going to be variable, right? Now it's all going to change based on whichever cell we're in the spreadsheet. So let's just try. Here's a 5. And I'll see a 5 on sheet 1. Let me rename this data 2 sheet just so we can see that. I'll run the code. Acme sub runner. This looks like it ran. If I come over to the server, what do we have? There it is. There's my username from Excel. There's the workbook that a file name that I'm in. There's the sheet that I just changed data to. That's the address, and there's the formula is just 5. And so the value is also going to be 5. Woohoo! Not bad. Anybody else? How we doing? Anybody else there? Refresh, refresh. Parent name. Here's the code one more time. Is there a period in there somewhere?
Yeah, that's like.
No, you don't even have to do that. Whoa, it looked like it worked.
Yeah.
Let's check it. Let's see if Francis shows up or if Congressman shows up. What's your username in your Excel? Owner. Is that you? You're not, are you Sarah Nye?
That's me. I never typed that. How do I get on there?
Who is Sarah Nye, Carson?
My aunt's computer.
Oh, okay, okay.
How do I get in there if I even never typed it?
Where's that relation to the?
Yeah, any relation?
No,
No.
Mine say, oh,
I know. Why is that?
Yeah, good question. So this comes from the username in the Excel application.
So our wait.
Like, so in the Excel application, so if you go to the application of Excel, like the username that's in Excel.
So because when I'm signing in is Carson now.
Are you really? In Excel. Go to file.
Yeah, JC.
No, sorry, on the Excel spreadsheet. Oh, you're right there, yeah. So file and then go down to account. Oh, interesting. Yeah, you are logged in. That is interesting. That is mixed up. Maybe it pulls it from the user license. Are you sign out? No, that's weird. I don't know about that one.
That's strange.
I don't know about that one. Probably because, what does yours say?
mine is,
Yeah, same issue here. So it does say Francis,
yeah,
but it's owner on the application username. That's an interesting one. I don't know about that. What is the owner of your username here for the operating system? It might be the operating system. Click on that one. Huh. I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was going to be Francis because you're logged in as Francis. You're good.
I
Hiram?
got hung up on these same execute. Oh,
Okay, what was the error message?
show it again.
Yeah.
It was syntax, I think.
Incorrect syntax near 15. Okay, so let's scroll over here. What does this one say on the bottom? Okay, we got two 15s. Oh, I think we're missing a comma. Is that possible? In between cell and formula? Because you've got this right, cell, formula, value. That all looks pretty good. Let's see if that was it.
Okay.
That looks like it worked. Think it worked? What's your username? It's your name. You lucked out. JC,
Sorry, my name was about.
your name's invalid? How did that happen? Oh, we're basically out of time. Shucks.
So.
Invalid column name JC Sela. Okay, let's see now. You've got right there, application.
Oh, am I missing the preps?
Yeah, try that. That might be it. Ah, that is interesting. I'm not sure why, because that should still work.
No, it's not like it's.
Okay, can you give me 30 seconds? I just want to show you this real fast, or we could do it next time. In fact, I got 30 seconds. My clock says I'm 3:29 on my computer. So here's I think what's really cool. If you want to just follow along, I can show you, or you can come back and watch the video. This is one where at this point, we've got the code done. The last thing I want to do is I don't want to have to run this manually, right? If I'm going to give this to somebody who's running it on an Excel, I just want it to track it automatically. So to track this automatically, I'm going to go to this workbook and I'm going to put some code in outside of the modules. Like, this is great, right? This is the reason why we have these objects over here. I'm going to come to the workbook on this left menu. On the right menu, I'm going to click on Sheet Change. And I'm going to take this out. What this means is anytime there's a change in the sheet, it will run this code. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say run record edit. That's the name of the sub that we've been running. And I'm going to pass it two things. I'm going to pass the sheet and the target, right? It even recognizes this, right? It recognizes this. So my sheet is SH and the target is target. So it already knows to pass SH and target. Isn't that crazy? So now what this does, I'll go ahead and save this because I don't think I've saved it for a little while. I'll come back to my Excel spreadsheet and watch this. I'll make a change here. I'll make a change here. I'll make a change here. I will make a change here. Here's a formula. Sum of this plus this. Enter. And with those 4 or 5 changes, let's go check the database. Look at that. In a matter of seconds, I have tracked all of those changes in my worksheet automatically, right? Every time a change is made, it's sending that change. It's running this code, sending that change into the database. I know I just blew your socks off.
Wait,
I apologize.
Where did you create, which model?
Yes, good question. So I'm in this workbook. I'm not in the module anymore. I'm in this workbook. I clicked on workbook over here and I clicked on sheet change here, and that's where I put this in. So with one extra line of code, I'm running all of this SQL that we just created every time there's a change in my workbook. Last thing, okay, there's just one more thing here. I will get an error if I'm not careful. I'll just put this in here. We can talk about it more if you have questions. If the target cells count is 1, then run this, because it turns out that if you make changes to more than one cell, then you'll get an error message. Does that make sense? So I'm going to add this if statement here around this call that says if I'm just changing one cell, then record it, and that's good enough. If I make a big change here, like if I copy this to all of these cells down here, that's changing multiple cells at once, and there's some extra code for that, but we don't have to worry about that. Okay, very good. That's it. I'm sorry to keep you over. We did it. We have finished all of the classroom instruction that you need to do the rest of the material in this class. Woo! Class on Wednesday is going to be a lab. Come if you want. I'll be here. We can work through any projects, any questions you have. Class on Monday is going to be a lab. We can work on VBA just for fun, sitting around working. This is like the best 2 classes of the semester, hanging out, working in VBA. Yes. Yes, there's some good stuff there. Okay, great. Class dismissed. I'll go ahead and close.